You know that story, right? The lone genius is soaking in a bathtub or maybe sitting under an apple tree and bam, a world-changing idea strikes them like lightning. We call it the Eureka moment. But what if that whole picture is, well, kind of wrong? Let's get into it and explore where true breakthroughs really come from. So yeah, that's the big question we're tackling today. How do these huge breakthroughs actually happen? Is it all about a sudden, unpredictable flash of inspiration? Or is it something else, something more methodical? Well, the truth, as it usually is a fascinating mix of both. For ages, people have kind of pitted these two things against each other. It's like a big boxing match. In one corner, you've got cold, hard logic, the rigorous step-by-step, by-the-book process. And in the other corner, that mysterious creative spark, that sudden, intuitive leap of genius. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? What if they're not even fighting? And this is exactly where the scholar we're looking at today, Szostak, comes in. He basically says, hey, we're asking the wrong question. It's not rules or intuition. He argues that the real magic, the real breakthroughs, happen when that intuition works inside of a rational process, not as some random event. And just to be super clear here, Szostak is not some anti-intuition guy. Not at all. He totally gets that it's a huge part of, well, everything. From understanding a piece of art to creating a new scientific theory. That creative spark is absolutely essential. The real question isn't if it's important, but what happens next. Right, and that leads us straight to what you could call the bathtub idea problem. You have this amazing flash of brilliance. Why isn't that enough? Why can't you just jump out of the tub, run down the street shouting Eureka, and have everyone just believe you? What's missing? And think about this for a second. Scientists, researchers, they're people, right? They definitely have gut feelings and intuitive leaps. But when was the last time you read a scientific paper that said, and then I just had a hunch? You don't. So why not? Well, Szostak really hits the nail on the head here. He says just announcing, hey, I had a great idea while in the bathtub the other day, isn't going to convince anybody. And honestly, it shouldn't. That personal aha moment, no matter how incredible it feels to you, is just the starting gun. It's not the finish line. So how do you take that personal bathtub idea and make it into public knowledge? Well, you've got to put it through the ringer. You have to show how it connects to ideas that are already out there. You have to prove it lines up with the evidence. And this is the big one, you have to subject it to rigorous, critical analysis. Okay, so this is where it gets really cool. This is where logic and intuition stop fighting and start working together. Because here's the secret. Those brilliant flashes of insight, they aren't random at all. You have to earn them. Yeah, when you look back at the history of big discoveries, you see this pattern over and over. The aha moment almost always comes after someone has spent a ton of time just wrestling with a problem. They're deep in the weeds, they've gathered all the data, they've hit dead end after dead end, and then, often when they finally step away, their brain makes the connection. It's so consistent, in fact, that you can actually map it out in 4 stages. First, you have to recognize there's a problem. Second, you set the stage. You do the homework, gathering all the info you can. Then comes stage 3, the act of insight, the Eureka. But, and this is key, it doesn't end there. Stage 4 is critical revision, where you test it, poke holes in it, and see if it actually holds up. And this is probably the single most important idea to take away here. Following a structured, rational process doesn't kill your creativity. It's the exact opposite. It creates the perfect conditions for it. It's like preparing the soil before you plant a seed. The process is what makes it more likely that you'll have a valuable, game-changing intuition. Okay, so we've looked at what happens inside one person's head. But now let's zoom out. How does one person's great idea become, well, part of our collective understanding? How does it move from being just your idea to our idea? Szostak uses this brilliant metaphor. He calls scholarship a conversation. And just like any good conversation, you can't just shout random things. Everyone has to agree on a shared language, a way of talking that makes sense. In research, that language is logic and analysis. And that really gets to the heart of it, right? An individual, sure, you can have a messy, brilliant, totally intuitive flash of insight. But a whole community of researchers, they can't work with that. To actually test an idea, build on it, and see if it's real, they need a shared process. They need a common framework everyone can agree on. So why does all of this matter so much? Well, because the stakes are frankly huge. This isn't just about writing a better paper for a journal. This is about how we as a species actually build knowledge and move forward. Because think about the alternative. Without that shared process, what do you have? Szostak calls it a heap of papers, a disorganized pile of interesting but disconnected ideas. It's a bunch of people shouting Eureka from their own bathtubs. But with the process, that's when you get a coherent understanding. You get a real body of knowledge that grows and gets stronger. And that is the ultimate goal, isn't it? It's not just about one person being a lone genius. It's about all of us being able to build on each other's insights, layer by layer, so we can collectively solve bigger and more complex problems. This partnership, this dance between the creative spark and the rigorous process, that is literally the engine of human progress. So I want to leave you with this thought. Great ideas don't just appear out of nowhere. They arrive when a mind is prepared for them. So the real question for you isn't, when will inspiration strike? The real question is, what unsolvable problem are you preparing your mind to solve right now?